Namaskar, I'm Dr. Payal Khurana, Assistant Professor at the North Cap University, Gurugram. I've done PhD in English from University of Jammu. I have rich experience of 18 years in teaching and I'm well versed in teaching communication skills, English literature and language courses. I've presented papers and chaired sessions at national and international conferences. I've also been a reviewer of research papers in reputed journals. I heartily congratulate respected Dr. Arjun Dave and Vedant Knowledge Systems for organizing a conference that focuses on the Sustainable Goals 2030, aiming to bridge gaps and build future for Viksit Bharat at 2047. This conference is indeed a wonderful opportunity for everyone to come together and discuss strategies that would be effective in promoting India's sustainable development. It is truly an honor for me to chair a session at this conference. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Dr. Rizia Begum Laskar. I am an assistant professor in the Department of English, MD Kachi College, Dibrugarh, Assam. And the topic of my paper for this online virtual conference on Sustainable Development Goals 2030, Bridging Gaps, Building Features for Viksit Bharat at 2047 is The Seeds of Tomorrow, Exploring the Role of Children's Literature in Sustainable Development, Growth and Development. Now, children's literature as a source or is a very powerful tool which can lead to sustainable development and sustainable development goals. So it can influence young readers' perspective on environmental issues, social justice, responsible consumption, and by integrating themes of sustainability into children's stories, which it can effectively address the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. This proves that children's literature has the ability to transcend the boundaries that are set in sustainable development and apply it to young minds. So what are the challenges and opportunities in utilizing Indian children's literature? The first and foremost is of course lack of awareness. People have a very big lack of awareness regarding Indian children's literature and its ability to bring about change. Then resource scarcity. Of course, this is one of the biggest problems. There are very limited resources of children's literature, primarily due to financial constraints. Now, opportunities will include curriculum integration. If it is included into the curriculum, then sustainability themes can become a buzzword, or sustainability themes can be integrated into the young minds and readers. And of course, collaboration and partnership, building strong partnerships between authors, publishers, etc. for creating literature for creating literature which actually talks about sustainability. So it is not necessarily only government policies which are important, but again authors and readers should also engage in it. Now I take into this case take two case studies of which are examples of effective engagement. Now the first is of course Pratham Books. It is a not-for-profit organization, and its primary motive is to create inexpensive books which will help in reaching out to the significant number of children who do not have access to books, and to provide children of various socio-economic backgrounds access to children's literature. And they have a lot of their books available on their website. The e-books are available for free. Similarly with Tara Books, it also draws inspirations from various art forms and indigenous art forms, and brings into play various artists and artisans and people from the marginalized to bring forth the stories from the marginalized community. Now, what are the recommendations for maximizing impact? One of course is one of the biggest thing is of course policy support. It is very necessary. Policy support is a government policy makers should encourage for the creation and distribution of children's literature. Curriculum reform. If books which are talking about sustainable development and growth are introduced into the curriculum, then they can bring about a significant change. Public awareness is of course necessary. Then again, teacher training. If teachers are not trained, then they cannot bring forth the idea of sustainable development to young readers. And again, the most important thing is of course community management, because without community engagement, because without community engagement, the idea of propagating this concept of sustainable development cannot take place. Now we move to the conclusion conclusion, the things that we take away, the key takeaways is to cultivate a sustainable future is that empowering young minds, which is very necessary. Children's literature has the ability to empower young minds. Now, the next important step is inspiring action. Now, who will inspire action? The authors, by integrating themes of sustainable development into their writings. They can influence young minds, and of course, building a better tomorrow. By leveraging the power of children's literature, a better tomorrow can be built. Thank you so much for the present hearing.
The paper, presented by Dr. Rizia Begum Laskar, Assistant Professor, Manori Devi Kanoi Girls College, Dibrugarh, titled The Seeds of Tomorrow, Exploring the Role of Indian Children's Literature, presents an effective relationship between children's literature and sustainability. It also links to the broader themes of environmental awareness, social justice, and cultural identity. The literature review is well structured and provides a strong theoretical foundation for the discussion. Various relevant studies have been cited that support the argument convincingly. The inclusion of Pratham books and Tara books as case studies strengthens the paper by providing real-world examples of how literature is used for sustainable development. The exploration of folklore, contemporary literature, multilingualism, and digital platforms creates a holistic view of the topic. The recommendations are actionable and well thought out. And in fact, they provide a roadmap for leveraging children's literature for positive social change. The paper overall is very well structured and the analysis is excellent. I wish all the best to the presenter. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Priyanka Patel. I am working as an assistant professor in Charutar University of Science and Technology. First of all, I would like to thank to the team Vedant for giving me an opportunity to present my paper in the India's biggest virtual conference on Sustainable Development Goals 2030, Bridging Gaps, Building Futures for Viksit Bharat at 2047. I am profoundly grateful to my research supervisor Dr. Bhaskar Pandya for their invaluable guidance and unwavering encouragement. The title of my paper is The Idea of Indianness in Indian Literature, an analysis of social and cultural themes in the short stories of Rabindranath Tagore, Mulk Raj Anand and R.K. Narayan. This research delves into the portrayal of Indianness in the short stories of three iconic Indian authors, Rabindranath Tagore, Mulk Raj Anand and R.K. Narayan. The study identifies and examines three central factors: Indian culture, it includes social systems, caste, family and patriarchal traditions, literary and linguistic techniques, and religion intertwined with social economic ethos that includes myths, superstitions and fantasy. If I talk about the first author, Rabindranath Tagore, his stories vividly capture the tension between tradition and modernity. Works like Kabuliwala and The Postmaster highlight universal emotions like love, loss, and longing while also reflecting cultural nuances. His feminist undertones shine in stories such as The Exercise Book and Shubha, which critique patriarchal traditions and advocate for women's dignity and individuality. Tagore's mastery of poetic prose elevates his storytelling, blending rich imagery with profound philosophical insights. Second author is Mulk Raj Anand. Anand's writing brings a voice to the oppressed and marginalized. Stories like The Untouchable and The Barber's Trade Union confront the harsh realities of caste discrimination and social injustice. Through narratives such as The Cobbler and the Machine, Anand juxtaposes tradition and modernity, urging progress while respecting cultural roots. His use of colloquial language and earthy realism lends authenticity and immediacy to his characters and their struggles. R.K. Narayan is the third author. Narayan's stories breathe life into the simplicity and complexity of small town India. Works like A Horse and Two Goats and The Missing Male portray the charm and irony of ordinary lives. He addresses themes like caste, tradition, and cultural contradictions in stories like The Caste System and Under the Banyan Tree. Narayan's humor, wit, and language create a relatable and engaging portrayal of Indian life. Despite their differences in style, these authors share a commitment to exploring Indianness. They address issues like caste hierarchies, the clash between tradition and modernity, and the resilience of individuals within rigid societal frameworks. Tagore emphasizes human emotions and philosophical depth. Anand critiques socio-economic inequalities with realism and reformist zeal. Narayan brings humor and irony to ordinary lives, reflecting cultural and individual struggles. The study adopts a qualitative literary analysis, focusing on a close reading of selected stories supported by secondary research. It also explores how language, setting, and characterization shape the narratives and evoke a strong sense of Indianness. To conclude this, the short stories of Tagore, Anand, and Narayan collectively embody the rich tapestry of Indian culture, tradition, and social dynamics. Their works not only critique the ills of society but also celebrate its resilience and humanity. Together, they present a timeless exploration of India's social cultural identity, offering profound insights into the human condition. Thank you.
The paper presented by Ms. Priyanka Patel, Assistant Professor, Charutha University of Science and Technology, Chanka District, Anand, titled The India of Indianness in Indian Literature, an analysis of social and cultural themes in the short stories of Rabindranath Tagore, Mulkraj Anand, and R.K. Narayan, is rich in content with well-researched literature reviews, clear thematic analysis, and insightful interpretations. The methodology and framework for analysis are solid and add credibility to the work. The presenter has included a detailed review of existing scholarship which strengthens the foundation of the research. The thematic categorization of themes like tradition versus modernity, caste, gender, spirituality, colonial impact allows for a structured discussion. The breakdown into political identity, social norms, and regionalism ensures a well-rounded approach to Indianness. The presenter has also made good use of examples regarding specific short stories and characters which are well integrated to illustrate key arguments. The paper successfully highlights multiple dimensions of Indianness by contrasting different authors' styles and themes. In fact, overall, it is a very well explained, a very well written paper which has added uniqueness to the works of the authors that have been discussed. It's a very well crafted paper, and I wish all the best to the presenter. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Reepu and I am currently associated with Chandigarh University, India. I hold an MBA and PhD in finance. I have actively contributed to local and international research organizations presenting research both domestically and abroad. My areas of expertise encompass behavioral finance, business management, and financial management.
I'm going to present the paper on women's education and sustainable development. My paper focuses on educating men and women are a key for sustainable development of the nation. Raising the education levels, literacy rates of women is one of the most effective investments for increasing female productive on top of enhancing the well-being of families. In developing countries, reducing gender inequality in literacy and in primary, secondary, and management education is essential to reducing poverty and accelerating sustainable development. The education.
Now presenting the review of manuscript, that's Women's Education and Sustainable Development. So I'll just say that the manuscript presents a compelling discussion on the crucial role of women's education in fostering sustainable development. The study effectively highlights the significance of gender equality in education, emphasizing its transformative impact on social progress, economic growth, and environmental sustainability. So below are some positive aspects of your research along with constructive suggestions to further enhance its clarity and effectiveness. The strength of manuscript includes: first, relevance and importance. The topic is highly relevant in today's context, aligning well with global goals such as UN Sustainable Development Goals. Second, it has got comprehensive coverage. The manuscript covers various aspects of women's education, from its impact on employment to its role in overcoming social inequalities. Third, it has got structured approach. The research objectives, hypothesis, methodology, and findings are clearly stated, giving the study a logical flow. Fourth, emphasis on practical implications. The paper provides actionable insights, including recommendation for policy improvements and strategies for enhancing women's participation in education and sustainable development. So followed are the suggestions for enhancement. First, grammar and language refinement. Consider revising some grammatical errors and awkward phrasing to enhance readability. For example, quoting, "and educating men and women are a key." So this could be revised to "educating both men and women is key to sustainable development." Second, clarification of key terms. Some terms such as planned document and flat form seem unclear. A brief explanation or rewording could improve comprehension. Third, data and references, including more statistical evidence or real-world case studies, could strengthen the argument. Additionally, expanding the references to include more recent studies would enhance credibility. Fourth, hypothesis refinement. Phrasing hypotheses in a more precise manner, such as "the involvement of educated women significantly contributes to sustainable development," would improve academic rigor. Fifth, methodology expansion. While the study mentions the use of secondary data, further elaboration on specific sources and analytical techniques would improve the research's transparency. So the overall impression is that your manuscript is well structured and insightful contribution to the discussion on women's education and sustainable development. Refining the language and strengthening the evidence base will enhance its academic impact. So keep up the great work.
Hello, I'm Dr. Bhavna Kalyani, a visiting faculty at KK Modi University, Durg. Today I'm here to participate in the conference on Sustainable Development Goals 2030, Bridging Gaps, Building Futures for Viksit Bharat. The paper which I'm presenting is entitled Exploring Migration in Chhattisgarh, a Socio-Economic Inquiry. We know that migration in Chhattisgarh is a common and persistent phenomenon, and it is driven by a combination of push factors that forces individuals to leave their localities in search of better opportunities. Employment remains the dominant driver for the male out migration, while marriage is it accounts for majority of the female migration. Chhattisgarh, we know it it has a large ST population, and about 1/3 of the state population consists of scheduled tribes. And high poverty rates and socioeconomic vulnerability among STs, it adds to the significant complexity of migration discourse in Chhattisgarh. So now coming to the data from the census of 2011 on migration, it reveals that the rate of male and female outmigration in Chhattisgarh for economic reasons such as work and employment, it's double the national average. It is well known that migrants from poor and backward states prefer more industrialized and urbanized states. The most preferred destination for migrants from Chhattisgarh is Maharashtra. And coming to the implications of high migration rates from poorer states is that they are losing human capital needed for their development. However, it can be argued that economic migration benefits these states by reducing unemployment and gaining remittances. Understanding the trends in detail is essential for designing policy aimed at reducing economic disparity and fostering inclusive development within the state. With that, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you.
Now presenting the review of manuscript Exploring Migration in Chhattisgarh, a socio-economic inquiry. So your manuscript is well researched and insightful exploration of migration trends in Chhattisgarh, shedding light on the socio-economic drivers and implications of migration pattern. So below are some key strength and constructive suggestions for further enhancement. Strength of manuscript include 1. Comprehensive analysis. The study provides an in-depth examination of migration trends, incorporating both quantitative data and qualitative insights. Second, well-structured approach. The paper follows a logical structure, making it easy to follow. The inclusion of sections like literature review, data and methodology, and policy recommendations enhances readability. Third, policy relevance. The discussion on migration policies, challenges, and possible interventions make the study highly valuable for policymakers and researchers. Fourth, incorporation of census and empirical data. The use of census 2011 data and references to National Sample Survey add credibility and robustness to the findings. Now, suggestions for enhancement. First, grammar and language refinement. Some sentences could be revised for better readability. For example, migration in Chhattisgarh reflects and perpetuates socio-economic inequality, necessitating a comprehensive approach. So this could be reworded as migration in Chhattisgarh both reflects and reinforces socio-economic inequalities, highlighting the need for a comprehensive approach. Second, clarity in tables and figures. The table provides useful insights, but adding a brief explanation of key takeaways from each table would improve reader engagement. Third, most recent data. If available, incorporating more recent migration data or trends post-2011, for example, effect of COVID-19 on migration patterns, would further strengthen the study. Fourth, conclusion enhancement. The conclusion effectively summarizes findings, but adding a strong call to action for policymakers would enhance its impact. So the overall impression is that the manuscript definitely makes a significant contribution to migration studies in Chhattisgarh, combining strong empirical analysis with policy implications. With minor refinements in language and structure, it has the potential to be a highly impactful study. So keep up the excellent work.
Namaskar everyone. It is an honor and privilege to chair this session on the India's biggest virtual conference, Sustainable Development Goals 2030, Bridging Gaps, Building Future for Viksit Bharat at the rate 2047, organized by the team Vedant. I extend my warmest welcome to all the esteemed researchers, academicians, and all the participants for joining us today. I am Dr. Aastha Saxena, Assistant Professor Selection Grade in the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication at the IIS deemed to be University, Jaipur. I have been actively involved in academia and research, focusing on media studies, communication studies, and their impact on society. 4 scholars have completed PhD under my supervision and 5 are currently pursuing. I have written multiple research papers and book chapters and served as an editorial board member for academic publications. My recent book, A Systematic Approach to Research, reflects my passion for guiding scholars in their research endeavors. I am also the editor of the book Digital Plus, Shaping the Future of Media and Communication, and my upcoming book, Reimagined Advertising, Click Stories and Beyond. I am also an associate editor of the book Innovations and Practices in Mass Communication. Beyond research, I have actively contributed in curriculum development, faculty training, and academic collaborations. As a media educator, I strongly believe in the power of communication in shaping public discourse, driving change, and promoting sustainable development. Sustainability and development are more than just academic discussions. They are the global concerns that demand innovative solutions, interdisciplinary collaborations, and committed action. This conference provides a vital platform to discuss these crucial issues and explore meaningful ways to bridge gaps for better future. I look forward for insightful discussions and thought-provoking ideas that will contribute meaningfully to the ongoing discourse of sustainable development.
Good morning, panel members, conference team, and session chair. I am Dr. Murali V Kesaboina, Associate Professor in Works in University, Hyderabad. I am going to present a paper today in the current conference. The title of the research paper, Crafting Sustainability, the Role of India's Arts and Craft Sector in Achieving the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Abstract. India's arts and craft sector can be considered one of the crucial contributors to the sustainable development in the context of globalization and technological advancement. The title reflects the idea of how traditional craftsmanship may be in sync with the United Nations SDGs for 2030 that are set forth to tackle serious global issues such as poverty, inequality, and environmental degradation. The crafts of India, rooted in centuries of cultural heritage, offer unique insights into the sustainable practices that give much prominence to the use of local materials, traditional techniques, and engagement of community. Revitalizing crafts will therefore preserve the invaluable cultural identities and importantly, create economic opportunities for millions of artisans, particularly women, who are often marginalized in the modern job market today. The research paper focuses on 2 things. The first one is it talks about the importance of cultural preservation and innovation in craft practices. Second one, it puts forward the more general implications regarding social equality and environmental sustainability. Introduction. The arts and crafts sector of India is an elaborate tapestry and threads of history, culture and community intricately woven. Carrying an inheritance of thousands of years, this sector does not depict the rich cultural heritage of the nation, but it is also a strong participant in the socio-economic framework of modern society. The traditional art and craft sector, the world is facing problems of poverty, inequality, and further degradation of environment. So the importance of the arts and crafts sector of India is considered while discussing SDGs for 2030 for the United Nations, and that reflects various facets of contribution to economic growth, social equality, and environmental sustainability. The SDGs are the framework established by the United Nations in 2015 to address overall challenges and enhance sustainable development. So, of these, a few can be directly associated with the capability of the arts and craft sector. For example, goal number 1, no poverty, and goal number 8, decent work and economic growth, which deal with the providing economic opportunities and fair wages to all, but especially to marginalized groups. So revitalizing the tradition and then plugging into the modern market creates sustainable means of livelihood to millions of craft people, thus being able to sustain poverty alleviation with economic empowerment. Sustainable practices that reduces the waste and limits the impacts caused to the environment. The craft sector in India has been shaped more by government policies and initiatives. So the SDGs are as per the present situation, it is also required to mobilize an integrated approach for craft sensitivity and direct dictated by the interconnected cultural, economic, and environmental ramifications of the crafts. It needs to be developed through interdependent collaboration among the government, NGOs, and the private sector to nurture traditional arts and crafts while empowering artisans. Arts and crafts can play a significant role in contributing to the achievement of 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. So all the stakeholders from artisans to policymakers, consumers, and researchers have to join together to preserve and promote this rich heritage of India crafts in the forward movement so that this rich heritage continues living for generations. Objectives: encourage environmental sustainability. So to ensure that sustainable crafting practices employ local materials, minimize waste and aid environmental conservation in general and achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 12, responsible consumption and production. So raise awareness to sensitize the public on the importance of traditional crafts in achieving the SDGs and the importance of ethical consumption or support for local artisans. Create a comprehensive framework for the utilization of India's arts and crafts sector as a catalyst for sustainable development, in line with the broader goals set by the United Nations. Methodology. Data was collected from primary and secondary sources. So for primary data, semi-structures, in-depth interviews were conducted with the 25 art and craft sellers. The participants were randomly selected from the different art and craft market and exhibitions. Conclusion. Art and craft sector that represents very rich cultural heritage, but also an equally important economic part of the India's landscape. This sector offers immense scopes for sustainable development through diversified tradition in craftsmanship to the identification of different communities. Eco-friendly material use and certification program will not only serve as the government great avenues for promoting sustainable practices, but also serve as rising base of conscious consumers. Technology opens an opportunity to transform how artisans interact with the market and other artisans. So these activities would ensure preservation of the identity that comes from cultures, but more so ensure that all have a future that is not only more sustainable but more just.
So I would like to give my opinion on your paper. So your paper present a very much needed discourse on the intersections of sustainability and traditional craftsmanship, shedding light on the often overlooked sectors that holds an immense cultural and economic significance. The study effectively highlights how India's rich heritage aligns with sustainable practices, particularly in terms of environment, social equity, and economic empowerment also. By linking these aspects of these type of communication with the broader framework of the SGTs, you provide a strong foundation for understanding the craft sector's role in fostering sustainability at both local and global levels. The introduction of your paper is very well structured, providing a clear conceptual background that connects Indian traditional crafts with sustainability principles. The objective of the studies are very well designed and align with the core themes of economic upliftment, gender equality, and environmental sustainability. Your choice of methodology, incorporating both the primary and the secondary data, adds depth to the credibility of the research. The inclusion of semi-structured interviews and industry stakeholders further strengthen the study, allowing for the understanding of the sector's challenges and opportunity. The discussion on technology-driven solutions which you have given, such as digital platforms and skill sourcing applications, is particularly noteworthy, as it presents a modern perspective of preserving and promoting traditional crafts in an increasingly digitalized world. The analysis of the government initiatives and the policy framework is also commendable, as it effectively highlights the role of institutional support in ensuring the fair wages and sustainable practices within the industry. Your study focuses on the economic empowerment, particularly for women artisans, is one of the strongest aspects. Your discussion on gender and social equality within the craft sectors adds a valuable dimensions to the study. Additionally, the integration of the case studies such as the Kutch Craft Initiative, which you have talked about, provide good examples that enhance the paper's practical relevance. The literature review, as I said, is very nice and drawing a range of credible sources, including reports from government organizations like World Craft Council and inside from the publications like Economic Times and Hindu, was very good.
Namaskar. My name is Dr. Neha Sharma. I'm an assistant professor in SCRT Delhi and a teacher of art education department. In this paper, which is titled Fostering the Human Values Among 21st Century Learners Through Sustainability Lenses, I have tried to bring interconnectedness between society and education, whereas society here adheres the values and ethical part and how it is related to present education system, if there any. Education includes developing human potential by promoting conscious awareness of human values. In this 21st century, value education has emerged as an indispensable component of holistic development. Cultivating ethical values, society's responsibilities, and empathy is crucial to addressing global challenges. In this paper, I have tried to portray an example of a 12-year-old boy who brutally hit his teacher with an iron rod and later stabbed him. The case was from the Delhi, and the teacher has only asked the boy to complete his homework, which he was not doing. Hard to believe, but yes, had the boy ever been exposed to all the value education which the family provides or the society provides, or has he ever been exposed to any happiness or value education classes in the school? These are the big questions where we need to ponder. We all got moral preachings from home and at society level, but where we lack, here I would try to again draw your attention towards the behavioral part of the individual, where we want the child to learn all the moral preaches that we fail to show through our behavior. If a person is highly qualified, he is having a lot of degrees and is on a higher post, but does it ever justifies him or her to be a good human being? So these are the big questions. This is completely 180 degrees opposite from what we are getting through education, the practical education, and the expectations of the society to be a good human being. So being mere educated never caters of being a good insan with solution-oriented and non-judgmental approach towards entire vyavastha of the universe. Hence, education must serve the purpose of not only being a highly qualified, but should also take care that the youth become a responsible and see the world with the lenses of sustainability. अंत में मेरा आचरण ही मेरा प्रमाण है. Rest here is in the books. I would rest my words here only to let you ponder the practical education that we are trying to give to the children of the present time and the expectations of the society and the world towards an individual. Is there any difference between the two, or they both are interconnected? Thank you so much.
Your paper presents a discussion on the importance of value-based education in contemporary society. The topic is particularly relevant in today's rapidly changing world, where technological advancement, globalization, and socio-political challenges have created the need for ethical grounding among individuals. The paper effectively highlights on how value education serve as a crucial pillar in shaping responsible and good citizens who can contribute meaningfulness to the society by incorporating very good examples like Mahatma Gandhi's and Radhakrishna ji's and John Dewere's. The paper established a very strong philosophical foundation, reinforcing the argument that the value education is not merely an academic concept but a fundamental necessity for any kind of development. The reference you have given to the UNESCO report and the Global Peace Index strengthens your research, and the structure of the paper is well developed, moving systematically from defining value education to discussing implications for sustainable development. By integrating statistical data on literacy rates, economic growth, global ethical challenges, the paper effectively claims making the discussions more concrete and credible. The emphasis on inculcating values through education aligns well with contemporary education framework that advocates for character development along with your academic learning. The paper also moves beyond identifying problems by offering practical solutions, suggesting that a structured approach to value education in curriculum can help instill equalities like empathy, tolerance, ethical leadership in students. Overall, the paper presents a well-structured research and thought-provoking analysis of the role of value education in fostering the sustainable future. It successfully bridges, the philosophical perspective with contemporary educational challenges, making a strong case for integrating ethical learnings into, academic curriculum. With further reference in language, structure, and empirical support, the paper has the potential to make a significant contribution to the discourse on ethical education, sustainability, and the future of learning in 21st century. So all the best from my side.
वेदांत पब्लिकेशन द्वारा आयोजित इंटरनेशनल सेमिनार में मैं आज अपने विषय को लेकर प्रेजेंटेशन करने वाला हूँ. मेरा नाम है महेशकुमार वाघेला, सहायक प्राध्यापक हिंदी सरकारी इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज उदयपुर, जिला भावनगर, गुजरात. भारत के लिए 2046 का वर्ष कैसा होगा? भारत के प्रधानमंत्री का मानना है कि विकसित भारत के लक्ष्य को हासिल करने के लिए राजनीति, दैनिक, कला, संस्कृति, ज्ञान, विज्ञान, शिक्षा, चिकित्सा, कृषि आदि सभी पहलू जो है वह महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाएंगे. विकसित भारत का उद्देश्य सामाजिक, आर्थिक और पर्यावरणीय स्थिरता के माध्यम से बेहतर और विकसित भविष्य का निर्माण करना है. इस निर्माण की प्रक्रिया में उच्च शिक्षा महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभा सकती है. तो आज के इस विषय में सतत विकास लक्ष्य अर्थात STG की महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका, STG 4, STG 5, STG 8 और STG 13 के संदर्भ में विश्लेषित करना चाहता हूँ। राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति NEP 2020 उन्नत भारत अभियान UBA जैसे सरकारी प्रयासों को उच्च शिक्षा में सुधार और सतत विकास लक्ष्यों की प्राप्ति के लिए महत्वपूर्ण कदम बताया गया है। इन लक्ष्यों को प्राप्त करने के लिए उच्च शिक्षा अपना महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभा सकती है। विकसित भारत की परिकल्पना समाज के सभी वर्गों को सशक्त बनाना, आर्थिक विकास को बढ़ावा देना, प्रौद्योगिकी और नवाचार को बढ़ावा देना, सतत विकास को प्राथमिकता देना पर केंद्रित रही है। इसमें उच्च शिक्षा की भूमिका यह रहेगी कि गुणवत्तापूर्ण शिक्षा और अनुसंधान, जिसे STG 4 के अंतर्गत रखा गया है। गुणवत्तापूर्ण शिक्षा STG का मुख्य स्तंभ है। उच्च शिक्षा संस्थानों का दायित्व है कि न केवल विद्यार्थियों को गुणवत्तापूर्ण शिक्षा प्रदान करें, बल्कि समाज की समकालीन समस्या समाधान निकालने के लिए अनुसंधान को प्रोत्साहित करें। दूसरा उद्देश्य उच्च शिक्षा का हो सकता है समुदाय सहभागिता और सामाजिक प्रभाव। उच्च शिक्षा संस्थानों में ग्रामीण और शहरी समुदायों के बीच की खाई को काटने का कार्य करना चाहिए उच्च शिक्षा को। तीसरी बात है लैंगिक समानता। उच्च शिक्षा संस्थानों में महिलाओं और वंचित वर्गों के लिए समान अवसर प्रदान करना जरूरी है, जो NEP में और STG 4 में भी कहा गया है। चौथी बात है नवाचार और नवाचार को प्रोत्साहन देना। उच्च शिक्षा संस्थानों में युवाओं स्वरोजगार और नवाचार को लिए प्रोत्साहित करता है। स्टार्टअप जैसे लेकर युवाओं को रोजगार प्रदान करना चाहिए। पांचवा उद्देश्य है उच्च शिक्षा में STG 13 के अंतर्गत कि हरित पहल और पर्यावरणीय स्थिरता, उसके लिए पाठ्यक्रम में हिस्सा देना चाहिए उसे, और ऊर्जा, वर्षा, जल संचयन आदि जैसे जो प्रबंधन है उसके लिए भी मैनेजमेंट आदि सारे विषय को पाठ्यक्रम में उसे स्थान देना चाहिए। राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति भी यही कहती है कि बहुविषयक शिक्षा होनी चाहिए, जिसे हम मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी कहते हैं। अनुसंधान संस्था, उच्च शिक्षा संस्थान सहभागी बढ़ावा देने के लिए प्रोत्साहित करना चाहिए। डिजिटल शिक्षा भी होनी चाहिए। इस संदर्भ में उच्च शिक्षा के 5 चुनौतियां भी है। चुनौतियां यह है कि वित्तीय बाधाएं हैं, ग्रामीण और शहरी क्षेत्रों में असमानता है, गुणवत्तापूर्ण शिक्षकों की कमी है, लैंगिक और सामाजिक भेदभाव भी है। ऐसी चुनौतियां होते हुए भी अगर समाधान पाने की कोशिश करें तो सरकारी और निजी क्षेत्र में निवेश को बढ़ावा देना, ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में उच्च शिक्षा संस्थानों की स्थापना करना, शिक्षकों के प्रशिक्षण और विकास पर ध्यान केंद्रित करना, लैंगिक और सामाजिक समावेशी को बढ़ावा देना, वैश्विक अनुभव और भारत के लिए सबक देना। अंत में हम जो भारत को विकसित भारत की श्रेणी में लाना हो, तो जो विकसित देश है फिनलैंड और स्वीडन जैसे देशों में सतत शिक्षा के विशेष पाठ्यक्रम चलाए जाते हैं, उससे हमें थोड़ा बहुत वहाँ से हमें लेना चाहिए। ऑस्ट्रेलिया में विश्वविद्यालय जलवायु परिवर्तन पर शोध अग्रणीय है, वहाँ से भी हमें उसे सीखकर अपने संस्थानों में उसे बेहतर बनाना चाहिए। निष्कर्ष के रूप में हम कह सकते हैं कि यदि उच्च शिक्षा को प्रभावी ढंग से विकसित किया गया तो यह केवल भारत को 2030 तक सतत विकास लक्ष्य को प्राप्त करने में मदद करेगा, बल्कि 2045 तक एक विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने की दिशा में तेजी से आगे बढ़ाएगा। धन्यवाद।
So your paper present a very well structured and insightful analysis on higher education, how it can contribute to the India's vision of becoming a developed nation by 2047. The topic is very relevant as it aligns with the global and national efforts towards sustainability, economic growth, and social development. The paper effectively highlights the crucial role of higher education institutions in achieving the key SDGs, particularly in the area of quality education, gender equality, economic growth, climate section, or the global partnerships. The integration of policy framework such as National Education Policy 2020 and initiatives like the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan adds depth to the discussion for how government strategies aligns with the sustainable objectives. The paper is well structured, beginning with the introduction to SDGs and India's vision for 2047, followed by an in-depth discussion on the role of higher education in achieving sustainable development. The section on the SGTs provide a strong and a very foundation explanation of how these goals address global challenges related to poverty, education, gender equality, environmental sustainability. The discussion on the developed India at 2047 effectively links, India's inspiration to these global goals, emphasizing the need of the multidimensional approach, that includes economic, technological, and social progress. One of the strength of your paper is the detailed explanation of how higher education institutions can drive sustainability by focusing on quality education and research, community engagement, innovation, entrepreneurship. Your paper also highlights the transformative, potential of higher education in shaping more, equitable and sustainable society. The emphasis on the practical initiative, such as promoting green energy solution, encouraging startups, and bringing the urban-rural divide, strengthens the argument that higher education is not just about imparting language or knowledge, but also about fostering the real world change or the real world challenge. Also, the discussion on gender equality is particularly very good in your paper, as it gives the importance of inclusion of educational policies, scholarships, gender sensitive curriculum to empower women and the semi urban communities. Overall, I like the research paper because it was well structured and thought provoking. It successfully bridges the framework with practical recommendations, making a strong case for the role of higher education in shaping a sustainable and developed India. So, all the best from my side.
Namaskar. I am Dr. Kulbhushan Singh, Professor of Mathematics at Sri Ram Sarup Memorial University. Today here I am going to present our joint research work, which is titled as Kut Bhasha Paddhati, Coding in Vedas. I'll try to share my screen. I hope now the slide will be visible to you. Once again, the title is Kut Bhasha Paddhati, Coding Language in Vedas. This is the joint research work of me and Dr. Prabha Rastogi. Dr. Prabha Rastogi is also Emeritus Professor at Sri Ram Sarup Memorial University. In the form of abstract, I would like to explain that cryptography or code writing is the process to convey messages in secured form. Since the ancient period, different civilizations have used symbols, alphabets, words, mathematical formulae, and concepts in coding the messages not only in wars but to protect themselves and their culture and traditions in mythological format. In India also, Indians were very advanced in their mathematical and astronomical approach, but their all work is in compact cryptologic language in the form of sutras. In this current research, authors have tried to relate modern cryptographic concept to ancient Indian philosophy, astronomy, and mathematics. Keywords are Bhut Sankhya, cryptography, Vedic text, mathematics, astronomy, Aryabhat, cosmology. Let us first define what is cryptography. Cryptography is the process of protecting information or communication technique in coding form to save from unauthorized people. The term crypt means hidden and suffix graphy means writing. The technique which are used to protect the information based on mathematical algorithms. What are the Vedic texts? Vedic texts are the scriptures followed by the people to get the solution of their social, traditional, and religious customs since the period of Mahajanpadas, which are also called as agricultural settlements. And these Vedic texts were written in Sanskrit, evolved over thousands of years in various stages of development. The two primary forms of Sanskrit are Sanskrit of Vedas and Panini Sanskrit. Panini in 5th century codified the rules of grammar and structure. The gap of approximately 2000 years made a significant difference among words and their pronunciation, which gave some words different meanings and made difficult to understand. Means now their meaning has been changed, means people could not understand. Vedic texts were not basically mathematical texts, but storehouse of all day-to-day lifestyle and knowledge about culture and tradition. Vedas were existed in oral tradition and passed out generation to generation until they were written between 1500 to 500 BC. The knowledge was given by the saints or rishis to their students orally in India, and they were asked to recite without any mistake. It was easy to memorize in poetic form. The sutras or shlokas were compact and in cryptic language. The numerals were denoted by figures, symbols, alphabets, words. There are different symbols and strokes in this script still could not be deciphered. You can see here I put a picture and it is still not deciphered properly or exactly. Coming to the Vedas, different systems were involved to denote numerals in figures, words, or alphabetical form. System denoting numerals in words is known as Bhut Sankhya. Bhut means which we could not see, and Sankhya means the number. So these numbers are hidden and or written in some different forms which somebody cannot understand if he has not any proper knowledge of decoding it. It was mostly followed in medieval period, early centuries of Christian era. It was convenient to use in poetic or verse form of sutras, and secrecy could have been maintained. Here I am showing some of the example how these numbers are represented by some different words 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So for 0, sometimes they use Sunya, sometimes Ambar, sometimes Akash, sometimes Purna, like that. 1 is Chandra, Bhumi, Dhara means एक चंद्रमा है एक भूमि है so to represent one sometimes they use Chandra sometimes use Bhumi. Likewise, 2, Yama, Ashwin, Dasra, 3, Rama, Guna, Triguna, etc. 4, 5, 6, 7. The numbers are associated with places, objects, gods, colors, etc. Anka, Vamano, Gati. Anka means the number, Vamano means the left, Gati means the movement. Is the pattern followed means place values are from left to right. Unit place, 10th place, 100th place. And for example, Drishti 3 Gryuta is the number 4,32,000. Here, 3 is used for 2, 3 is representing 3, Sagar representing 4, Ayuta for 10,000. Same way, 325 can be written as Panch Shiviki or Ishyumagni. Same way, you can see there are many things which we have coded here. I will show you all this in my final presentation. Let us come to the conclusion or results. Vedic texts reveal a unified cosmology and metaphysics emphasizing the interconnectedness of self, nature, and cosmos. Some interpretations suggest advanced scientific awareness, such as atomic theory, Anu, cyclical time, that is, yugas, or cosmology expansion. The multi-layered meanings highlight how ancient societies encoded vast knowledge across disciplines, spiritual, practical, and astronomical, into poetic and symbolic forms. In conclusion, we can say that Indian philosophy and mathematics had strong connections with rituals, culture, and traditions and were preserved in very much planned way. Decoding the hidden meanings of Vedic text yield profound insight across various domains, philosophical, scientific, spiritual, and cultural. The results of such understanding can be viewed into several fields like spiritual insight, philosophical understanding, scientific analogies, cultural and historical insight, practical application in modern context. Understanding the hidden meaning of Vedic text bridges ancient wisdom with contemporary challenges. It fosters a holistic worldview where science, spirituality, and ethics coalesce. This deepens human understanding of existence, offering tools for personal growth, societal harmony, and ecological balance. At the end, I would like to say that this field is not fully explored and need attention of scholars. There are the references which I use for preparing this work. Thank you. I hope you like this presentation, and I will show you the detailed presentation in my final paper.
The paper presents an insightful explanation of crystographic techniques embedded with the Vedic texts. You have effectively established a connection between the ancient Indian mathematical and philosophical traditions with the modern crystography, arguing that Vedic sutras and slokas were deliberately encoded to preserve knowledge across generations. The research highlights the sophistication of these crystographic methods, particularly through the number system, where numbers are associated with object and natural elements to create a structured mathematical language. Your paper effectively illustrates how these numeric and linguistic coding methods were used not only for memorization but also for safeguarding knowledge from the potential loss or misuse. The discussion on the sutras and other classical texts offer examples on how numerical representations were woven to the structures of the Vedic literature. The research delves into the geometrical symbols of Vantaras, presenting them as an additional layer for crystographic encodings that links mathematicology, cosmology, and spirituality all together. The analysis of your Sri Yantra as a representation of cosmic energies of Shiva and Shakti enriches the argument that Vedic texts contained multi-dimensional system of knowledge. One of the strengths of your paper lies in its ability to bridge the ancient knowledge with the modern concept, making it relevant to the contemporary field such as information security, data encoding, and conceptual linguistics. So, very good paper. All the best.
Good morning, all the dignitaries present here. First of all, I would like to thank for giving me this chance to present my paper in Viksit Bharat Act 2047. I am Dr. Shruti Salvan and I am Assistant Professor in Vidya Knowledge Park, Meerut. I am presenting my paper on the topic How Indian Arts and Culture Sector Contribute to Promoting Social Inclusion and Sustainable Development. Introduction. Arts and culture plays a pivotal role in social inclusion and sustainability. The culture of any country is important for the growth and sustainability of the society. Culture has been a very important part of society for the overall development. It contributes a beautiful environment for the coming generations and also enhance the knowledge. Integrated role of art and culture in social inclusion and sustainability. Indian culture is fantastic blend of traditions, arts, festivals, languages, and beliefs, which reflect the artistic expression and cultural heritage of India. Indian arts and culture empowers to drive social inclusion for the sustainable development. Indian culture stands not only for a traditional social code but also for a spiritual foundation of life. Culture is the soul of nation. Whole life and culture of India have greatest achievements in philosophy, religion, poetry, painting, sculpture, Upanishad, Mahabharat, Ramayana, Vedas, Puranas, and Shastra are rooted in our culture very deeply. Second, impact preservance of diverse cultural heritage. Cultural heritage and properties are the roots of the country. Thus, preservation of the cultural heritage is an important task for mankind. Cultural heritage preservation, on the other hand, is the process of preserving, recording, and maintaining cultural heritage without changing its nature. Third, preserving documentation and conservation. Cultural development is a historical process, and preserving it is a process of efforts made to protect, promote, and conserve the cultural heritage. Casting, documentation, and representation techniques are three virtues of Indian culture. Digital data storage process is cost effective, which enables us to store much quantity of traditional art and craft data. Indian heritage, sustainable tourism. Indian heritage focuses on preserving the country's cultural, historical, and natural resources. 5. Indian heritage, sites, and monument preservation. Preserving historical treasures is the focus of sustainable tourism. India is a World Heritage Site of ancient temples, forts, palaces, and traditional art forms. Indian heritage is also about educating visitors that can be a part of sustainable tourism. They can provide educational programs about India's diverse culture, language, and tradition based approaches for conservation and awareness. For the environment conservation, art based approaches should be there. Combine creativity with activism to inspire. Art installations can be great approach to environment. Artists can use recycled materials. Seventh, art's impact on harnessing traditional craftsmanship. Harnessing traditional craftsmanship for lively based generations. This can be a powerful tool for preserving cultural heritage and sustainable economic development of the communities. To revive the traditional arts, there should be weekend training workshops for younger generations to craft works. Many communities are dependent on traditional crafts for their livelihood. By offering them training, resources, and market, we can help them to continue with this craftsmanship and generate the income. Government can provide infrastructure, training centers, resources, hub, and help artisans to grow and expand their business with a good income. The paper involves a study of traditional art and culture of India. For gathering, secondary data libraries, books, journals, internet, and blogs are explored. Data collection tools such as group discussions, case studies, and observation are used. The main focus of the study is on introduction, inclusion of Indian art and culture for sustainable development.
Your paper very beautifully talks about the explanation of India's rich artistic and cultural heritage. The abstract introduced the topic well, emphasizing India's long standing artistic traditions and their role in social inclusion and sustainability. The introduction effectively highlights the significance of art and culture in shaping society. The discussion on prehistoric paintings, moral arts, and the integration role of art in everyday life in India is engaging but would be strengthened by specific examples or references to the studies. The statement that Indian civilization has always been deeply intervened with artistic expression is valid, yet a clear connection between the historical art forms and their impact on modern social inclusion and sustainability could be included. The discussion on the preservation of cultural heritage is valuable and highlights the threat that are faced by the historical, artifacts and traditions. The section on the sustainable tourism as a means to promote the Indian heritage is well structured. The final section on the art based approach for conversation and awareness is innovative and relevant. The idea that art can be a tool for activism, awareness, and environmental conversation is engaging, and the discussion on art, illustrations, community participation, and social media campaign is timely. Overall, the paper covers a significant and a relevant topic.
Namaste. A warm welcome to everyone for my paper presentation. I'm Rajani Kanth, a spiritual practitioner, ex-serviceman, and currently working as an assistant professor in Department of Computers at Sri Gnanabika Degree College, Madanpalli, Andhra Pradesh. Basically, on this globe, all people can be categorized into two ways, say Astika, Nastika, where Astika are people who accept God, Nastika, they don't accept the God. Irrespective of whether they are Astika or Nastika, they are supposed to live in the nature. Nature is the expression of God, Parabrahma. Parabrahma has infinite expressions into the nature, I say infinite expressions as nature, where the Indian philosophy has identified 33 crores amongst that infinite. Say the nature has infinite expressions called gods, and Indian philosophy has identified 33 crore gods. Irrespective of whether they are 33 crores or 30 crores or 3 crores, all these godly forms, they are united with one syllable called Om. This Om, when recited, when chanted repeatedly for a long duration, it gives peace. It has a lot many beautiful good effects in uh, life, increasing positivity in thought entity, etc. But this Om can also be utilized in a way to attain liberty, say moksha. Say moksha is not death. It is not dying. It is living with liberation. So liberation can be attained with reciting of Omkara. This Omkara basically it has three basic syllable. Say u, and ng. Say people who are living wanted to live peacefully can chant Omkara as it is, but people who wanted to get liberated can chant this Omkara with this basic syllable a, u, and my paper presents how this chanting of a, u, leads to liberation. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to express myself, and I'm privileged to thank my co-authors Surabhi Ramadevi, Sri Nanabika Degree College Madanpalli, and Sri Gurumurthy, who is a Sanskrit scholar and from Soham Ashram, Haridwar. And thanks to Government of India for introducing the Indian knowledge system into the educational system through NEP 2020 and providing targets like Viksit Bharat. And thanks to Mr. Arjun of Vedant and his team, the entire Vedant team, for being bridge to fill the gaps between the government, the educationalists, and the students. Thanks. Thank you very much.
The Om provides an insightful explanation of the, philosophical, spiritual, and meditative significance of various things. You have effectively delved into the historical and spiritual foundation of Om, drawing references from the Bhagavad Gita and the various, yogic transitions or traditions. The study highlights how Om is not merely a sound but a vibration force that connects the individual self with the universal. The discussion on how the interplay between the sound and silence as pathway to liberalize in a particular thought-provoking offering a understanding on how chanting Om fosters mental clarity, spirituality, or inner harmony is very good. The methodology is one of the strongest part of your paper as it integrates both theoretical analysis and experimental insights. The blend of scholarly research and experimental knowledge makes the study unique and very credible. Overall, the paper makes a significant contribution to the study of Om as a tool for spiritual liberalization. Its combination of analysis, scientific inquiry, and personal experiences provides a very historical perspective on the subject Om.
Hello everyone, I am Mandira Dasgupta. I am a research scholar in the Department of the Fine Arts from Tripura University, and my research, the topic of my paper is the study of the medieval temple architectures of Tripura, the juxtapose of the three styles of Hindu, Buddhist, and Islamic architecture. The contents are introduction, methodology, major finding, and reference. Introduction. The research is based upon the architecture of Tripura during the medieval period. The study is an analysis of the designs, motifs, and styles of the selected architecture of Tripura. It focuses on the aesthetics and functionality of the designs of this structure. Here we can see the two images, and on below this is the important image of the Tripura Sundari temple, which falls in this category. There are various kinds of influences which are found in the architectures of Tripura, that is the Mughal style, Burmese style, Buddhist stupa style, and Bengal style, as well as indigenous style. In methodology, I have taken photographs and done vast literature survey and visited archives, museums, libraries. Field visits were done in the architectural sites, and interviews of the experts were taken. Here you can see the Udaipur, that is there is the ground plane, section of ground plane of a typical Tripura temple. In the style of architecture, the king of Tripura had a modern outlook, and by granting all the religious beliefs together, they blended the Hindu, Buddhist, and Muslim style and created a three-style mixed category of architecture, that is the Triveni style, or it is also known as Charchala Stupa style of architecture. The characteristics of Tripura Sundari temple are given. The temple circumambulatory part is 3 to 4 feet, and the roof upon the roof there is a stupa crowning. The base of the stupa crown has elements of lotus petals designed in a row. Upon the top of this stupa structure there lies another stupa structure smaller than the below structure. This one is divided or edged with vertical lines like the reefs of Amalakasila. And there are two stupas placed upon the roof of the temple, placed one above another, and this adds the monumentality. This is one of the temple among the three of the which are known as Gunubruti group of temple, which are also found in Udaipur. That is built in the medieval period. Here we can see the assimilation of the different Chala style, which may be due to the contribution of Brahmanical and Buddhist idiom developed in this religious architecture. The Chura or Ratna and Charchalas are found in the temples of West Bengal, Assam and Odisha, but in the temples of Tripura we can see the use of stupas over the hut-shaped roof. This is another temple which is known as Hari Temple. And Tripura architecture not only adopted the Hindu and Buddhist idioms but also introduced the Islamic designs to enrich it aesthetically. And the cover buttress of Tripura temples reveal the design of Indo-Islamic minarets. And here we can see the Torana. The major findings are a symbolical representation of the motifs present in the architectural surface where describe the advent of various religions and the migration of people from other states and countries which have shaped the mixed style of architecture were studied. A class study of the outer and inner surface of the architecture were made. Classification of the genre and the style of various religious architecture were made, and their contribution in reshaping the religious historical background of Tripura are found out. Research of the patronization of the architecture has helped to find the intercultural exchange of tradition, philosophies and principles of the various communities of Tripura. These are the references. Thank you.
So, your paper provides an in-depth explanation of the temple architecture in Tirupura, particularly focusing on the Charchala Stupa style, which is founded in, Rajasthan, Udaipur. The study effectively traces its historical evaluation of these temples, emphasizing their unique blend of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Islamic architecture. The abstract clearly established the significance of these temples' architecture within the Indian context and highlights the nature of these structures, which developed over the centuries under various rulers. The introduction provides a very comprehensive geographical, political, and historical background of Tirupura, dealing its transformation from a state under a British rule to its integration into an independent India. This will help in understanding the architecture evaluation of that particular region. The review of literature is very insightful. The methodology is also very well structured, incorporating the literature survey, field visit, photographic analysis, and expert interviews. The detailed description of Udaipur's temple, especially the Tripura Sundari temple, effectively illustrates the architecture elements, materials, and symbolic features. The paper is very rich in architectural analysis, detailing the walls, roof structures, and decorative elements of the temple, such as the Tripura Sundari temple. The comparison of Tripura temple structure with other architectural traditions, such as temples in Pagan, adds depth to the analysis. The research provides a very significant contribution to the study of Indian temple architecture, particularly highlighting the Tirupura temple tradition. The analysis is also very well structured, and the historical context enriches the discussion of the paper. So, all the best from my side.
Greetings everyone present at Viksit Bharat at the rate 2047 conference. My name is Shivansh. I am research scholar at Lovely Professional University. The topic of my research paper is Tabla through the ages, an exploration of origins, influences and evolution. Tabla is a famous rhythm instrument of Indian music. It comes under Avnad instrument. It is not limited to Indian classical music but is also essential part of semi-classical, light and folk music in India. There are various theories regarding its origin, and that's what my paper revolves around. Most of them are discussed in this research paper. Some believe tabla to be ancient instrument or refined form of various ancient instruments of India. There are various theories which link its origin with Hindu gods and ancient saints. It is believed to be the refined form of Tripushkar, Urdhvak or Alingya. The most famous theory says that when Khyal singing style was developed, a new instrument was made or discovered to accompany with this new singing style, as Pakhavaj was not suitable with Khyal singing. Various names are linked for the development or discovery of tabla like Amir Khusro, Siddharth Khandadi, etc. It is believed that Pakhavaj was split in two parts to make tabla, but many people don't agree with this theory. And there is other theory also. I cannot say it is a theory, but it is a proof that in Bhaja caves near Pune, there are depiction of tabla-like instruments in stone sculptures of Bhaja caves, which dates back to 200 BC, which clearly points that tabla was an ancient instrument which may have been rediscovered or become famous later in medieval period when Mughals came. In the period when claims are being made that the tabla was invented in Delhi, the tabla was being played in different forms in different parts of the country. All these streams were separate from each other. It is clear from this that tabla is an ancient thing of India. Tabla, which was once the pride of Margiya Sangeet, or we can say classical music, it was famous. Tabla was famous with the names of Urdhvak and Alingya in ancient times, and later it got associated with Desi Sangeet or folk music also in ancient time. And when it was rediscovered in the medieval period, it got the name of tabla, and it was linked with classical music, and it got famous in the field of classical music in medieval period. And later it got famous with singing different singing styles like semi-classical like Thumri, Dadra, Tappa, and its linkage with folk music still remains. But there may be strong possibilities that the playing technique of ancient time was different from the playing technique of medieval and modern period. But tabla, we can say, was an ancient instrument and not an instrument which was made in medieval period. Thank you.
So, your research provides a very in-depth historical and cultural analysis of the tabla, one of the most significant instrument in the Indian classical music. The paper delves with the multiple theories surrounded its origin, some of which are rooted in methodology, while others draw from historical and museological evidence. One of the earliest beliefs associated with tabla, the Hindu gods such as Lord Shiva and Lord Ganesha, suggesting that its origin can be traced back to the divine invention in ancient Indian tradition. The paper also explores references to instruments in ancient Sanskrit text, including the Nitya Shastra, which mention instruments like Tripushakar and Mridanga. A significant portion of the paper examines the evaluation of tabla through historical transitions, particularly during the medieval and Mughal period. The author presents a very argumented, both ways, supporting and challenging the theory, highlighting how musical innovations in the Mughal courts contributed to the development of the instrument. So your paper also, discusses the role of Persian and Central Asian influence on the Indian musical structures or styles. One of the key strength of your paper is the comprehensive analysis of tabla journey from the folk instrument to a classical one, shedding the light on socio-economic contexts that influence their transformation. The paper also highlights on how tabla gradually gained prominence beyond classical music, finding its place in semi-culture forms, devoted music, and eventually in very popular and fusion genres. It also touches upon the role of tabla in modern times, including its integration into global music collaborations and contemporary experimental compositions. So your paper is good.
Hello everyone, I am Tanisha Ahuja from Meerut, and the topic of my paper is Unlocking Creative Potential, Exploring Opportunities for Digital Media and Technology in Arts to Support Achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. In the struggle of expansion and development, we forgot that we are harming the nature, and if not taken care of at the right time, it will lead to unimaginable consequences. The UN had to step in and create the Sustainable Development Goals. These are 17 in number and have been playing a vital role in 193 countries which are the members of the UN. The governments of these countries have been working together to make the world a better place for both the nature and the mankind. In this paper, we will discuss about the SDGs and how can digital technology and art together support these goals. Digitalization and traditional means need to work together for the same. Digital media is shaping all the sectors of the world and becoming the core of all of them gradually. Objectives: to find out the ways of combining SDGs and creativity, to study about digitalization, to study about SDGs, digitalization and technology, to study about problems faced by people to move towards digitalization and technology from the earlier traditional ways, to draw conclusions and provide suggestions wherever necessary. Creativity is the base of every invention, and as we are human beings, we have mastered the art of inventions, be it fire, wheel, or AI. To showcase something extraordinary, art and creativity go hand in hand as they are incomplete without each other. In this rapidly changing environment, the lead role is being taken by digital technology as the need of the hour. Art has always worked to reach a wider audience through exhibitions and installations, but it was not as simple as it is now with digital technology. Contemporary art integrated with sustainability has been a wide topic, and together this approach is working wonders. People are creating numerous sustainable brands in art and design that have highly contributed in development of the countries. Digitalization is influencing all the sectors of the society. It is reaching new heights involving all the generations equally. Nowadays, if we open our social media, it is common to find people of different age groups creating and posting content. It is really important to digitalize in today's world as the government is taking initiatives towards Digital India, making it needful for all to learn, or else we will lag in our growth, making it difficult to survive. Digital media has actually helped in creating awareness regarding many ignored topics of the society, as all generations and all cultures are there on these platforms, so it is easy to reach them. The currency is being converted to plastic money, making us dependable on credit and debit cards. We are living in 21st century, the age of technology. With its development, many new softwares have been created which have helped in growth throughout the globe. The companies are hiring people based on their skills, as a skillful mind is more creative than an educated one. With the help of AI, we are able to create much better things, but only someone who is digitally sound can properly work with it or the new technology that are being introduced in the market day by day. There are few initiatives taken by government to integrate art and sustainability, which include Ministry of Culture Sustainable Art Practices program. It will work in empowering the new generation artists who are ready to work sustainably. India is a rich and diverse nation. It is already studied that people used more of sustainable arts from the start, and now new initiatives are being taken for the same. We all know after the outbreak of COVID-19, all countries have faced many problems, and countries work together to build a better future together. Discussing about the SDGs, there are 17 in total and are based on 5 Ps of 2030 agenda, which include people, planet, prosperity, peace and partnerships. There are few of them that are directly connected to arts, which include art and education, art and gender equality, art and economic growth, art and reducing inequalities, art and sustainable cities, and art and climate action. In the last 50 years, the development of technology has been exponential. The transformations faced by the world have been affecting the countries directly, which are connected to them on a global level. Technology is developing at a fast pace, and we can observe on a global front that it is helping us all towards a brighter future. We are able to make so many wonderful discoveries with the help of technology. Now let us conclude the paper. Digital media has revolutionized our world in many ways. Art has also been an important part. It has given a different approach to many fields as it is easy to connect to the world on global level. Most of this research has been carried out based on secondary data. Different research papers and articles of newspapers were studied. The paper has tried to put ideas based on different books, research papers, reports and articles. Thank you.
The paper presents a very comprehensive discussion on the intersections of art, digital media, and sustainability. The abstract effectively established the relevance of the art as a media of communication and a tool for social change. It highlights how the Sustainable Development Goals introduced by the UN in 2015 aim to address global issues such as poverty, unemployment, environmental degradation. Your paper seeks to explore how digital media and technology, when integrated with art, can contribute to achieving these goals. The literature review provided a very detailed analysis of sustainability and its relevance to art and digitalization. It defines sustainability as a responsibility or as a responsible use of resources to ensure future generations' well-being and explore how art has historically been intervened with nature. The paper underscores the transformation of art due to digitalization, explaining that while traditional methods are still valued, digital tools have expanded the possibilities of artistic expressions. The paper acknowledged that although digitalization has facilitated artistic outreach through social media and online platform, it has also led to the challenges such as the decline of some traditional art forms. A significant portion of the paper is dedicated to the Sustainable Development Goals, explaining their structure and interconnected nature. It discusses the 17 goals set by UN, particularly those directly related to art. The paper argues that art plays a crucial role in achieving the SDG 4 by enhancing learning experiences, SDG 5 by providing an inclusive platform for self-explanation, SDG 8 by generating employment in creating industries, SDG 10 by challenging societal norms and promoting social justice, and SDG 11 by fostering cultural heritage and tourism. So your paper effectively demonstrate how integrating art and digital media with sustainability can drive meaningful social and economical progress. The paper presents a very well-structured and insightful discussion on the synergy between the digital media, art and sustainability.
Greeting all. Presenting at Viksit Bharat at the rate 2047 conference. Myself, Vishakha Bhardwaj. I am research scholar at Lovely Professional University. The topic of my research paper is the relationship between ghazals and Indian classical music. This paper explores the connection between Indian classical music and ghazal singing, focusing on how the traditions of Hindustani classical music have influenced the performance and development of the ghazal genre. The ghazal, a poetic form that originated from Persia and gained entry into the Indian cultural world through connect with Persian-speaking Sufi mystics in the 12th century, is a musical genre that expresses deep emotions, deep emotional nuances and personal reflections. The essay discusses the relationship between Indian classical music and ghazals, tracing how the musical composition and performance technique of ghazals have depended their themes, the historical, culture and musical connection between these two forms of expressions has annihilated each other of centuries. Ghazals in India were accepted as a developed vocal performance genre in Hindustani music with desirable lyrics, with many compositions built on melodic structures based on ragas in Hindustani music. Most ghazals has Sufi mysticism, which greatly impacted classical music as well, particularly among musicians who composed spiritual poetry. Thank you so much.
So, your paper effectively traces the root of Indian classical music, emphasizing its evaluation over the centuries and its profound influence on ghazal. Your study highlights how Hindustani classical music, with a well defined melody and rhythmic structure, had played a very crucial role in shaping the composition of ghazals. Your paper argues that ghazals, while primarily known for their poetic depth, are deeply intertwined with classical musical traditions, particularly in terms of their reliance on ragas, tals, and other techniques. One of the strengths of your paper is its detailed discussion on the historical evolution of ghazals and their connection with the Indian classical music. It examines how ghazals, which originated in the Persian and Arabic culture, found a distinctive musical identity in India. The paper also delves with the technical aspects of ghazal singing, providing insights into how classical vocal training enhance a ghazal singer ability to express emotions very effectively. I like the analysis, which underscores the fact that while ghazal singing is not as rigidly bound by classical structured as pure Hindustani classical music, it still maintains a close association with rags and tals, allowing both discipline and creativity or freedom in performance. You also provided a very good example of commonly used rags in ghazals, and how these rags enhance the emotional impact of the lyrics. Overall, the relationship between the ghazals and the Indian classical music is very well researched and informative study that offers valuable insight into a deep-rooted connection between these two forms of artistic expressions. Your study successfully demonstrate how Indian classical music has enriched the ghazal tradition, making it a very sophisticated blend of poetic and musical artistry, with some refinements in the structure, coherence, and clarity. Your paper has a potential to be an even more significant contribution to the academic disclosure of Indian music and its evolving traditions. So, as we conclude this session, I extend my sincere appreciation to all the authors for their valuable contribution and to all the audience for their active participation. The discussion today reinforced the significance of research and knowledge sharing in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals 2030 and Viksit Bharat at the rate 2047. I express my gratitude to Team Vedant for organizing this remarkable conference and for providing a platform to facilitate meaningful conversations. Thank you all for your time and engagement. Wishing you an enlightening and productive conference ahead. Thank you.